Hello and welcome, or welcome back. I am Crackers, and my forge hood sucks, or rather, doesn't suck like it's supposed to. So basically, none of this actually works the way that it really should for a forge hood. The chimney has too many hard transitions. There's too much of an abrupt change in direction from the flat bottom of the hood into the chimney. The box is not quite big enough to really get a column. Overall, just wasn't designed very well. Mostly because I didn't know what I was doing, and I still don't know what I'm doing. So trying to get the hot air from the forge out of the shop as efficiently as possible is my #1 goal right now. Because of the way I had oriented the roof, I couldn't put the chimney directly through the roof because I wouldn't have been able to get it to drain correctly. So I ended up having to put a couple 90-degree bends in the chimney, and that ended up not working all too well. And anyone who's ever had to do work like this on top of a ladder knows that you end up going up and down and up and down and up and down a million times. I made the front and rear panels by laying out a rectangle, then plotting the top corners using measurements I worked out on the wall. Then I connected the top and bottom corners with a straight line. This way I didn't need to work out any of the angles, which would have been difficult to work out on the front panels since the corner angles are compounded. Then I bent the side flanges in my brake press, which I didn't film because it's outside and miserable. And then I did the top corner over a stake in the hardy hole. Then with the front and rear panels mocked up, I could just hold the material up to the sides and trace it out where they needed to be cut and bent. Although I did end up using this piece on the other side to make better use of the material that I had. They didn't line up 100%, but I was able to do a little bit of hammer and dolly work to get everything sitting square and in line. We've got the inner part of the main hood done. We've still got to build a flange to actually attach the chimney pipe to. This front edge is still just kind of floating. And then I need to make a band that goes around the front because we're not quite at our target distance. It's all just screwed together for the time being, and it may stay that way. From here, I'm going to make some standoffs. I want about 1.5 to 2 inches, and we're going to put another piece of sheet across the top of that, which will help stiffen all of this up and give us an air gap, and the heat coming off of the inner part of this hood doesn't convect heat out into the rest of the shop like my previous setup did. Next stage is going to be making the flange that the chimney will actually attach to. I should have taken the time to prep everything correctly because this really didn't weld very well. It even cracked when I went to bend the flange. And I actually have a machine to do this process, but I moved the parts for it out of the shop to make room for the ladder, and they are buried, and I don't actually know where they are. This is a steel crate for a go-kart a client was throwing away, and I'm going to use it to build an exoskeleton for the outer layer around the chimney. And since I'm in desperate need for storage space, I can use this later to build shelves on either side of the chimney. This should be enough space to keep too much heat from conducting to the outer layer. This isn't the intended purpose of my 90-degree tongs, but they really came in handy for bending up this small flange around the chimney. Most of the sheet metal in this project is coming from old appliances people were throwing out. 2 refrigerators, 2 washing machines, and a water heater got salvaged to make enough parts for this. Of course, the washing machines were left over from my time with the World Championship Backyard Washer Toss of Texas, also known as the WCB-WTT. The insulation foam on the inside of it was a pain in the ass to remove. The wire wheel just melted it into goo. I wanted to try to keep the sides in one piece, and they were too long to fit in the brake. I tried to bend them by hand, but it quickly became obvious that I was not going to be an efficient use of time. So I set up my bead roller for a tipping operation, which set the corner really quickly, and all I had to do was turn the flange up over on the anvil. The original support for the chimney was on the outside and extended, so it stuck out past the roof. So I need to shorten it so it fits inside the outer shroud. Then the outer shroud gets sandwiched between the support and a brace welded to the exoskeleton. Most of the screws here will get replaced with 3/16 pop rivets. The ones I ordered won't arrive for a while, and I'm eager to get this done. With all of the parts in place, I only need one corner support that bolts to the exoskeleton and a couple temporary screws. Finally, I can put the chimney in place and close it up. This was actually 10-inch HVAC duct, and I have a strap with a nut and bolt that attaches it to the support I installed earlier. I decided to make a template for the front panel because it's going to be the one I have to look at the most. So I want it to look good even though I'm using this rusty panel. And since it's such a large flat section, I decided to put a step in it to stiffen it up. Plus, I like the looks of it. I even went so far as to measure out the spacing for the screws. I didn't have a piece long enough to fill in the front, so I made it from several smaller pieces and put a step in them to hide the patchwork nature of it all. And a couple cans of hammer finish black to make it kind of blend in with the rest of the shop. Aside from changing out the screws for some pop rivets and probably another coat of paint, it's mostly done. I do still want to put another piece to extend the front down a little bit, and I want to make some sides on it. When I have a fan blowing in here, it likes to blow everything out from underneath the hood, which kind of defeats the whole purpose of it. And of course, before I can do that, I need to finish my forge so I know what its final height is, which will probably be next week's video, actually. I hope you enjoyed it. Maybe you got something out of it. Maybe I just wasted 20 minutes of your time. But either way, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you for the next one.